In this tutorial, we're going to look at a second version of selection. Remember that selection means decision making or branching through our code. In other words, some of our lines will need to run, but some of them don't need to run. In this situation, we've got something called switch. And as you can see at line 3, we started off by going switch and then in a set of parentheses, the name of a variable that we wanted to have a look at. You can see in line 1 that I've declared my string variable name and I've assigned it the value Bob. So at line 3, switch name is the equivalent of going, well, go and have a look at the contents of the variable name. And at line 4, this would be the equivalent of, if name contains the value Jane, if that's true, then output the word hello. But if it's not true, go and have a look as if it was an else if, for example. Does the variable name contain the word Peter? If a yes, great, output howdy. But if it doesn't, skip down to the next one. Does it contain the value Bob? Well, yes, it does here. So we're going to output hi. We're going to skip hello, not output howdy. We are going to look, did it contain Jane and Peter? But it's only at line 8 that we're going to have our output. If I change this from Bob to Jane, well, the first case is true, so therefore we're going to output hello. But then we have this keyword break. Break means if we've just done whatever the lines of code were immediately prior, in other words, the case was true, the variable name did contain the value Jane, then let's get out of the switch statement altogether. We're not going to bother looking at these remaining lines of code. We're going to jump down from line 6 down to line 13 and then continue with any code that happens to be after it. We've also got a couple of other keywords. Well, aside from break, we've got another keyword called default. This would be the equivalent of the final else statement in a longer if statement. Whereas an if statement evaluates a condition, a switch statement only looks at the contents of one variable. We're not comparing that variable to anything. We're just having a look, well, what happens if it contains Jane versus Peter versus Bob, etc. If the value in name contains, let's say, Jenny, it's not Jane, so we jump to case Peter. It's not Peter, it's not Bob, it's not Fatima, it's not Kim. So in this case, it would output unrecognized name.